If you have plantar fasciitis, you could be making these two big mistakes when you're walking or running, and I want to teach you how to get out of PF, so let's go over them so you can adjust your gait and decrease your pain today. As someone who's worked with over 1,000 runners with plantar fasciitis, I see this all the time, and a lot of the time you're rehabbing it, you're feeling a little bit better, but maybe you're stuck whether you are walking more or running more, and the pain just seems to be coming back. So we have to retrain the way that you are walking. It's two very minor adjustments, but they make a huge difference in your pain level. If you haven't already, watched this video on my top 5 shoes for PF, because that will also make a difference in your pain level. But the first thing that I want you to look at is your big toe mobility. So when we walk, as we push off the ground, our heel lifts up and we go into big toe extension. Now we need a lot of big toe extension in order to walk and definitely in order to run, because this is going to allow us to slight bend our knee, and then it's going to trigger us to bring our leg forward into the stride. But a lot of the time when someone has PF, they don't get into that full big toe extension. So it kind of looks like this. Versus, if you look at my right leg, this, where we're lifting our heel up, big lift of the heel up, and then we push off like this, instead of this. Okay, so it's kind of like we leave the ground with a little bit of that like stiffness in our foot. Our heel is not lifting as high up because maybe we don't have that big toe mobility, or maybe we just need to retrain and we've gone through those gait mechanics. So we need to retrain the way that we're walking, because otherwise, if we're not getting into that big toe extension, we're not going to be able to stabilize our big toe, and we're definitely not going to be able to decrease our pain completely. So one drill that I like to do and recommend is called slow motion walking, and it's exactly what you think it is. So all you're going to do is emphasize that big toe extension. I like to do it in barefoot. You should not have pain with this. It should just feel like a nice stretch. So all you're gonna do is when you're walking, lift your heel up, stretch, hold 1, 2, and then you're switching. And you're just gonna do this on both sides. Now, I like to do this, let's say like 5 to 10 minutes around the house is a great goal. Again, you're in barefoot. And if you feel pain when you lift your heel up this far, okay, maybe we're only lifting our heel up this far. We're not forcing ourselves into this pain just to feel the stretch. That's not the goal. The goal is just to get into that big toe extension, emphasize, and switch, and switch. So now when we're walking, and you can even speed it up a little bit as you get used to it, you're really learning how to get into that proper toe off. You can speed it up a little bit, and now when you're walking, let's say even like outside around the house, you're thinking about lifting up your heel just a little bit more, because if we can lift our heel up a little bit more, we'll get into more big toe extension, which is key to getting out of plantar fasciitis. Moving on to mistake number 2. Again, this is super popular. I see this all the time, and it has to do with your center of mass. So let me explain. If I'm walking and most of the weight is on my heel when I'm walking, I don't care that I'm leading with my heel, and I'm striking the ground with my heel. It's more so, where is my center of mass, like my trunk and my hips and my pelvis, where is that weight? Because if I'm walking like this and I'm basically like leaning back a little bit, or a lot of my weight is like posteriorly, then I'm just going to be putting more force into that area of plantar fasciitis that's super, super painful, right around the heel and the arch. So in order to fix this, and this would be really good to fix if you have a lot of pain when you are walking for longer distances, or maybe you hit a certain mileage and you start to feel pain, this could be a really good fix for you to try. So all I'm gonna do, instead of having most of my weight on my heels, and maybe you even do this when you're standing too, but instead of having most of the weight on my heels when I'm walking or when I'm running, I'm going to shift my weight. I'm going to bring my weight forward just a little bit. So now my hips feel like they're over my midfoot. Now, when I say midfoot, I really mean like where your laces would go. Like if you laced up your running shoe, where would your laces be? So I want to bring my shoulders and my hips over my midfoot. So now the weight is in my toes, especially my big toe. It's in my midfoot, the middle of my foot, and it's also in my heel. It's not hanging back on my heels to where I can easily lift my toes up. Shifting your weight forward just a little bit, and then you're walking. This will also help you get into more big toe extension because your weight is a little bit more forward and you're not trying to get into a big toe extension as you're leaning backwards. I hope those two corrections help you. I do have a free plantar fasciitis guide that you can check out below. It's helped thousands of runners, and I walk you through the other things that you have to start incorporating into your rehab so you can get out of pain, especially those different movement patterns that a lot of the traditional PT clinics don't necessarily address. So you can check that out below.